this is part 2 of the Briggs to Honda conversion, and let's see if I wasted a bunch of time or if this thing's going to run. And that air filter is completely nasty, so we're going to get that out of the way. And we're going to take the top off so we can have easier access to the top of the carburetor. And this is a GCV 190 engine, I can tell because of the taller recoil housing. So we're going to pull that off, bring it to the side, and this is what I don't like about these Honda engines, is the way the carburetor bolts up. But I've done this so many times, it's like a piece of cake for me to unbolt it and put it back together. You just have to make sure all the gaskets are lined up and just hold your fingers a certain way to make sure everything will stay in place. And I'm going to take the airbox completely off. That's a crankcase vent. And we're going to knock all of that loose because this thing's been sitting for a while. The gas line, I always put a hole in it. It doesn't matter how careful I am. So don't be surprised if you put a hole in it. I mean, it's 3/16 fuel line, by the way. So I'm going to carefully slide that off. And this Honda gas line does not want to come off very easily. So I just finally get tired of it and just rip it off there, because I already see that I put a hole in it and there's no saving it. Alright, and there's our carburetor. We're going to take our linkage out. Sometimes this can be stubborn. Just be careful not to break it, because I've done that before, or bend it. So now we're going to speed through cleaning this carburetor, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Now I'm going to completely soak the outside in carburetor spray here in just a second, just to get some of the big stuff off of it. And the overspray was spraying on my nice partial set of sockets. So what am I doing here? Just spraying it off all the the big chunks of dirt and stuff that somehow manages to accumulate on top of carburetors. And I guess I'd ran out and tipped the can upside down. Yeah, that's what it was. I'd ran out of it. Carburetor spray and had to get another can to continue on, as you can see. And carburetor spray will melt nitrile gloves like I wear. Doesn't matter how thick they are, it will dissolve them. So this is really dirty on top, and before you open up a carburetor, you obviously want it to be clean. So I'm going to take the float bolt off, and there's nothing in there. It looks nearly brand new, so I'm not even going to take it apart. I'm just going to give it a quick spray out, and that should do it. Or will it? We will see. So it's time to put it back on, and I'm just time-lapsing through this. But before I put it back on, I figured while the carburetor's off, let's clean it up a little. So I think I went to grab a can of WD-40 because it won't take the paint off, and a paper towel, and it's going to be nice and shiny. Now, obviously, I'm not going to take this thing completely apart and clean it because it's for resale. I'm just going to fix it to sell it and, get it out of my shop. When was this video recorded? November 21st, because I've been on a break the week of Thanksgiving. I got to stay home, which has been wonderful. So we're going to hook our linkage back up. That is a new piece of fuel line. I just usually cut them longer than they should be. You can always take off, but you can't put back. And this is where the fun part comes to put the carburetor back on. So when you take one of these Honda carburetors off, everything falls apart. This is the later model that has the automatic choke mechanism. These are a lot easier to work on than the older ones. So you just gotta make sure your air cleaner gasket is on there, which I almost put on without it because it will not run without that gasket. And the air cleaner gasket is the one that's got metal in it. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I said, this video is almost 2 weeks old. But I think I'm figuring out how I'm going to hold this. And you're going to put the 2 bolts in first, just like I'm doing here. You see I put my whole thumb across there to kind of hold them. And this is the tricky part. I know you can't see it, but I'm trying to put everything on at once. It's like one big sandwich. You know, you got the airbox, the carburetor, and all the gaskets in between, which I didn't have to replace on here. Normally on a Honda you replace all the gaskets, but it just makes it more difficult to put the carburetor back on. So everything is on there, or it looks to be on there. And watch your throttle linkage, because it will get caught up in there like it is, and it'll start running wide open if you don't free it up before you put the top back on. So I'm using an impact on the slow setting, and then I just, let it hammer in. I don't know the torque spec right offhand. And that also brings me to another debate. You don't need to torque everything. Just engine components like cylinder heads, connecting rods, things of that nature that are internal. But a carburetor, just get it, hand tight and snug. And always clean up, your workpiece that you're working on. You don't want no dirt to get sucked in there, and then you have to take the whole thing apart again. Been there, done that. It's no fun. So we're going to put the top back on. And that's one thing about Hondas, is the tops are very easy to put on, but these aren't the easiest motors in the world to work on. And as I said before, Honda no longer manufactures vertical shaft small engines under 13 horsepower, which completely shocked me when I got that dealer notice that Honda's not going to do it, or manufacture small engines under 13 horsepower. So as you see, I put a Briggs 5-horse air filter in there. They'll work. You don't need to buy the Honda OEM filters. Only use them when I have to. So we're going to put some gas in here. I think I went off in the back to look for my gas can. And I'm going to fill it up, or put enough in it just to start it. Because if it doesn't run, I don't want to have to deal with dumping out a full tank of gas, because that's no fun. Especially when it's new gas, clean and everything. And like I said, this is a newer motor. It's like from 2014 or something like that. So it's a whole lot easier to work on carburetor-wise. I'm going to turn the gas on. I'm going to feel up underneath the carburetor, make sure the float's not sticking and it's pouring gas out. So I've been there, done that, and it's not fun. So everything checks out. And what are we doing next? Alright, time to see if it starts. And that is a success. And it is bellowing out smoke, because that motor has been tipped sideways, upside down, and so on, but it did eventually quit smoking. But I knew the motor was good from, previously having it running. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please remember to check out all my other videos, and I hope you all learned something. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.